Cookie slabs, or crosscuts, are sections of a tree cut across the grain rather than with it. We cut those logs usually, sometimes the logs that come into our log yard are too short to make planks out of or to cut regular slabs out of. So we'll opt to put them on the mill and cut across the grain. They make great coffee tables, bar tops, stuff like that. They reveal the tree growth rings of each log, so you can really get an idea for one, how large the tree was, but for two, how old it was. We've made timeline log slabs out of those before, timeline slabs. Essentially, we go back through the years of the growth rings of the tree and put a marker in there based on when it started and certain events along the way, which is kind of neat. Cookies are very popular for coffee tables. They have a thicker, bulkier look to them. We have a tendency to cut them thicker just because of long-term stability. But they look really good for coffee tables and sometimes bar tops. It's hit or miss. Cookies are much harder to dry than regular slabs. They dry faster, but they're harder to dry defect-free. So usually we let them air dry for as long as possible. We try to get them to 20% or less. And we usually seal both sides of the slab with anchor seal, which is a waxy solution we put on the end, and it helps it to dry slower. It lets the moisture come out slower and reduces the amount of defect in the actual slab. The bulk of them are used for coffee tables. We've done wall art with them before. We've done light fixtures with them before. We've done timeline slabs before. They have many different uses. Most of the larger ones end up as coffee tables. And if we're fortunate, sometimes the shorter stump is still attached to the root ball. So that's been a big thing we've been cutting here lately, is we cut all the way down into the root section that's under the ground. They make for very interesting coffee tables and wall art. They're easier to cut. Cutting against the grain versus with it is always easier. If you've ever used a chainsaw before, you know that. It's easier to cut across the wood grain than it is with it. They're easier to cut. They're usually harder to move around with a forklift because we do wax both sides, so they are very slippery. So we take a little bit more care with the inventory when we're moving those around, and we usually band them. But the manufacturing process is pretty easy for cookie slabs, depending on the level of defect.